The Jumbo Shrimp Network. Looking for a new place to hold your office meetings, corporate luncheons, holiday party, or even your pep rally? Five Star Ballpark will get your group away from the mundane over to the ballpark for a refreshing, unique experience. The Jumbo Shrimp want to help you host unforgettable events, whether on the field, in the batting cages, wheelhouse lounge, spaces.
Leo's working hard. Pampers is working hard. Him dry. Only Pampers Swappers has a keep dry liner to keep him comfortably dry. Pampers, behind every baby.
Let's start paying attention to our breasts matters most. Early detection for breast cancer should take center stage. So no matter your age, understand your risk and take the first step. Go to yourattentionplease.com. It takes healthy joints to be a co-pilot and a trusty coworker. Give your dog Cosequin, a daily supplement for joint health support in dogs of all sizes. For your everything.
Yeah, I'm getting set up. I ain't got my phone set up yet. I just moved my nail desk back in my bedroom, so.
Hamilton tried to not throw away his shot in the bullpen down the right field line. We have talked about the success of the 2025 Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. How much fun it's been with this club. There's the pitch to Barry. High fly ball, shallow right field. De La Cruz coming in. Makes the catch. One pitch, one out to begin the sixth. And here's the lefty Joe Matt. It is not. It is about team success here, but it's also not.
What did I do, y'all?
And the other way it's worth looking at.
My disc.
What a smashing success this season has been. Look up. The Miami Marlins in the major leagues. Nobody thought they'd still be alive today. The playoffs. Pitch, fastball up and in. It's 1-0. Here they are. Still not eliminated with a very slim way of getting into the postseason. But people thought they'd be eliminated in August. Here's the 1-0 on Matt. Right to the inside. You mentioned 90 players. This team has sent a lot of guys.
Tighten up. Okay, here we go.
If you are a Miami Marlins fan, you should look at what has happened in 2025. The 25th, your team is 77 and 81. I know not in the playoffs right now, but man, and it's way. A lot of people on the outside thought they'd be. You look at what the future is, and what Peter Bendix, Rich Balkovich, their front office went to way upstairs on the airplane all the way to the backstop. It's 2-2. A front office that pretty clearly knows what it's doing. Because all of a sudden,
My hand dirty, y'all. I ain't used it in a minute.
you're still focusing on this weekend. But you turn a little
Let me
glimpse
see.
of 2026.
I get it like perfectly in the
There's a
camera.
lot of pieces.
Okay. There we
2-2.
go.
Fastball up and in.
There we go.
Either started here, maybe are still here, like Joe Mack. By the way, David Carpenter told me they think of as a 10-year major league veteran player. Thomas White, Robbie Snelling, Maximo Acosta, the list goes on and on and on. But Jacob Martin is starting out there. Augustino Ramirez is a stud. 2-2. Swing and a miss in the breaking ball. But he's good 3. Heriberto Hernandez went from a guy on his third organization to playing a huge role in the team. Troy Johnston finally gets a shot, doing some great things in the major leagues. Javier Sanoja has had some incredible moments. Xavier Edwards continues to take another step forward. And they found out Lopez off the scrap heap, and he's been an amazing starter up the middle for them. Griffin Conine is healthy. I mean, you go up and down. And Paulie, that's just the offense. You know, I'm a Marlins fan. I mean, I gotta look at AAA as being a pretty darn good success. That's just the Jacksonville's up 7-0 in a winner-take-all game in the
I'm
sixth
trying
inning.
to set this up, and it's really irritating.
They've given this
on,
major league team a lot of really, really good players. We'll talk about that in a moment. Ian Hamilton's coming in. 2 out, nobody on, bottom of the sixth.
Okay,
It's
that's better.
7-0 Jacksonville over Scranton Luxbury on the Jumbos.
That's a lot better. Okay.
Hey, Jumbo Shrimp fan, are you ready for a home run in your financial game?
And I'm not doing these little nails. I'm finna do some long eyeball nails.
The all-new Audi A6 Sportback E. The first Audi
And I'm only doing nail art because I usually do.
dynamic Audi.
My nails really need to be done. I'm only doing nail art. I usually do
math, history, social studies. It's all been leading up to this moment.
I gotta figure out which
Life is short.
eyeball.
Lunch is shorter.
I really like
That's
this
the
blue.
Lunchables effect.
We're gonna do that one. We're gonna do an eyeball on each nail. Actually, we might do all blue. Let's do all blue. I think that'll be really pretty. This is like a blue cat counter, is it? Four. I'm gonna just do 4 nails. Ooh, this one got a little purple.
Great idea. People can use it for future junk removal, or use it to someone they feel could use a helping hand.
I love 1-800-GOT-JUMP.
Thank you.
Okay, long tips.
Top to bottom. Pitch from Hamilton.
Okay, and I'm using Gel X Coffin.
And I know a lot of people were skeptical at first.
Hey, Cheyenne.
Started from the trade deadline last
Please subscribe, Cheyenne. I haven't seen you. Oh, you're new. Okay. Yes, girl. Welcome, Cheyenne. If you don't mind, please subscribe.
You're seeing what
So I'm gonna use these Gel X nails to create this look.
message to everybody last year.
And yeah, let's go. I'm only gonna do these 4. I'm not gonna do a thumb. I don't know why I can't see my chats until I touch the phone. Let me see that around. I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna try to leave it up and see if it stays. No, it keep disappearing. Well, I gotta touch it to see my comments though. That's weird and rude. These not long enough. Like I want some longer ones.
To get you the maximum compensation you deserve. For your free
Actually, yes, that's what I'm gonna do. This is longer. Actually, I'm gonna do these backwards like I used to do. Yes, because I don't be using these.
You still got it. Your immune system
Yes, because I love this weird shape. I don't know why.
RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccine.
But it's not laying down. Okay. Okay, cool. We can do that. We can do that.
They call it the hate train. I call it the warm-up. Every stop, more opinions, more pressure, more reasons why I'm not supposed to be here. But I show up. Not for them, for the work.
It's a little bigger.
This is The Injuries One by Reebok.
Let me find
I'm
something
Jamie
on
Lynn
TV.
Sigler. I'm a mom, an actor, and an advocate.
Ain't nobody
What
extra
works for
on
my
email.
schedule is taking Kesimpta. Learn more at kesimpta.com. Let's order boring
And this is laboratory. I wonder, can I play my YouTube on my TV while I'm watching YouTube? Let's see if we can do that. Obsessive compulsive clown. What? Shouldn't either. Skip survey. I don't want to take no survey.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good, Steve. How are
Hey,
you?
Mark, how you doing?
I like watching
Hey,
South White
Mark, how you
Underbelly.
doing?
Doing
Hey,
fine.
Mark, how you doing? Hey, 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 Mark, how you doing?
Wow.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Yeah,
That
he'll
was
get
my
put right
life
out.
for about 40 years or so.
Really?
You know what that is, man?
Doing all
That's
that.
obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, I'm not talking about, I'm going to get just what I'm talking. I'm not talking about, you got to go back and check and make sure that the stove is turned off or the door. I'm talking about like being stuck under your bed, 4 hours, saying something over and over again while horrific images are going in your head, and you have to counter each one of those things that goes in your head with something positive. So, anyway.
OCD kicked in for you at what age?
I was, the first OCD attack that I actually had, I was 5 years old, and I remember there was somebody that their house had caught on fire. Okay, and we were talking
This is
about
the
it.
shape
My
I'm
parents,
going
my
with, you
mom, and my
guys. And I'm
brothers
just doing nail
and
art.
sister.
I'm doing eyeball
And it
nails.
scared me. And
These are the blue
before I went to bed,
eyeballs
I
I'm
kept saying,
using.
"Oh, there's a house gonna catch on fire." I was worried about it. And then before I went to sleep,
I'm so excited.
it's over and over again. I said, "Our house is gonna catch
I don't
on
even
fire,
know what this
our
nail
house
shape
gonna
is,
catch on
so
fire, our house
don't
is gonna
ask.
catch on
I
fire."
just
Over and
put
over
the
again, and I
tips
just fell asleep. And then I
around.
kind of faded out, and I forgot about it. And then the OCD came back.
So I'm gonna
when I
use a
was
blue, and I'm gonna
probably
do
around
3D
fourth
nail
grade, I
art
think
with
it was.
polygel. So let me grab
And
my
it started
polygel, which
out
I don't have right now
with
on
I
me.
mean, I went to take a glass of water off the table and touch it. And when I touched the glass, for some reason, I could not pick it up and drink out of it. It had something to do with like odd and even numbers. Like, the first time was an odd number, which would make you odd, something of that sort. So anyway, I touched the glass again before I could drink it. And then after that, it's like increased. I'd be doing that all the time whenever we sat down for dinner. And Steve touched the glass one time before picking it up. And pretty soon my brother's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then from there it increased to where I would be touching it multiple times before I did. So anyway, and from there it increased. It wasn't. And then I developed over a period of time this system where, like certain numbers, I remember for a while, like odd
Yeah, I'll
numbers
probably
were
use
always
this
no
one
good.
instead.
Like the number 13
And this.
was always like a bad luck number. So I always had to avoid 13 or anything related to 13, like 3. And so
Here's my alcohol
then
for
it
my
became, like, I'll
polygel.
give you an example. Like, say I pick
I'm
up
gonna just
this
put it in
shoe,
here.
okay. Say I pick it up. So what would happen then is like negative thoughts would come in, okay?
For my
And
brushes.
I would have to counter those, and it could be anything. I would have to counter those with a positive thought. It could be any number of things. It could be something like I don't know. You're not gonna pass this, the 7th grade or something. Could go in your head. So say I went to pick up my shoe, okay, and it went. You're not going to pass the 7th grade. Okay, then I'm going to have to pick it up again and say to myself, I will pass the 2nd grade. Okay, now what happens is you've got that I picked it up the first time, okay, so then I counter it with the second, but that's no good because the first time is still stronger because it was the first time you did it. So you have to do the 3rd time. I'll pass 7th grade. Okay, now you're at 2 to 1, 2 good to 1 bad, which is okay, but you still got the number 3 in there now, which is like 13, so I'll get rid of that. So I'll pass and go to the 7th grade. You say it a 3rd time. Okay, now you got 3 good to 1 bad, which is 4, which is okay, but you still got the 3 in there, so that's not good. So you got to do it again. I'm going to pass and go to the 7th grade. Okay, so now you've done it 4 times to 1, which is good. And in the earlier stages, I could walk away with that. It would be okay. You'd be done with it. But what started happening was, by the time I got to the 4th one, that bad thought would come back in. It wasn't even really like a thought. It wasn't even really like a thought. It was like, it's almost like you're saying it yourself. Like I hear myself say, like I'm saying it, and I'm kind of like countering that. Listen, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to go to the 7th grade, or whatever. But what would happen is that bad thought would come in again. So then you have to start the whole process all over. Okay, and it always stayed in the category of you could never. It always was like. The counting was always 1 2 1 2, which would be 4, then 1 2 1 2,
which would be 4 more, which is 8. Then you start again 1, 2, 1, 2, which is 4 again, and so on. And 4 more is 8. Then when you got to 16, you would stop and you start it over again. 1, 2, 1, 2. You never counted like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It was never like that. It was always keeping with 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4 to 8, 16. Then you start over. Always avoiding the number 13.
Sounds exhausting.
Oh yeah, and that sounds like messed up, but that's like nothing to what it actually ended up turning into. And I always thought that,
Okay, so I'm gonna use these 3 colors. This is like a navy blue. This is a purple.
And it didn't stop.
And this is a light blue that I haven't used in a while. It's old and ugly.
It kept getting worse.
So might as well put it to
Well,
use.
anyway, I went through, like I had and it started to affect my life. Like I would miss out on
These are the
things.
4
Like, if you got out of
eyeballs
bed
I'm
in the
using.
morning,
This is the poly
the
gel
first
I'm
thing when your
using.
foot touched the floor, you had to have the right thought. Okay, if you didn't, you have to get back in bed, touch the floor again, and start over. And again, it was always in that same sequence. It was not just once. It was always in that same sequence. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You had to avoid the number 3 and stay in that zone. And there was different things. Like there were times where there was a thing for a while where I was always like spitting because it felt like there was something like a contaminant or something in my mouth. So I keep spitting it out. I would walk and have to touch the floor again. All those kind of things. I had a paper route, which I was very good at too. You're basically self-employed with a paper route. You buy your papers and resell them. I made really good money. I was a very good businessman. I was just like a young kid. I was in the 6th grade. But then toward the end of my route, I started having a thing where I would put the paper in someone's door, and then I'd go do 2 more houses, and then I have to go all the way back to the other door, knowing that I put the paper in there and still check. So a paper route that used to take me maybe 45 minutes an hour would take like 2 hours. Okay, and so it started affecting me, more and more like that. And again, at this point, it wasn't like the end of the world. It wasn't devastating. It was always
I'm
something.
just doing nail art, y'all. I'm not doing no acrylic laying or nothing.
A couple of years I'll look back at this and laugh at. I always thought that. And one of the, it was annoying at times. It was a real, a problem. Okay, but it didn't start to really get bad until I started going in toward my high school year. So I started getting done. That's when, now I had a kind of like a remission.
Actually, you know
like
what
in
I'm
the
thinking?
8th grade, where it went down, and my grades went straight up. I was like getting A's now. You know what I mean? It was like, I had all these
okay, so I'm gonna have to cure these because it's too dusty in here.
Penn State. I was either gonna probably major in law, probably get into politics. I had it all figured out. But then once I hit high school, it got bad, and it got ugly, and it got really bad. Also, if you haven't noticed, I'm a professional clown. How pretty is that thing? You always figure like the clown, what's behind that painted smile? Yeah, it's really a crazy person. Anyway, one incident happened with an OCD attack. This was going toward, I was going into the 9th grade. It was in the summer. And there's this friend of mine and a friend of theirs was I had a cop that was a friend of this police camp thing, okay? And we were, he asked if I wanted to do it. Man, I'll go, what do I care? When we went to take this physical right now, and this is a part of me. Okay, where I grew up in a small town, Erie, Pennsylvania. But I was would be the rich kids in that area. It was a private neighborhood, a pool,
I'm
tennis
just
court,
curing
all
it
that kind of
because,
stuff.
yeah,
So we were
it's getting
wealthy kids.
sticky and stuff.
Not wealthy like you'd see in LA, but wealthy. But anyway, into this physical thing, and all the kids there were you could tell most of the kids were dirt poor. And I hate to admit it, but the way we were brought up, we were to consider that we were better than these people. It was horrible. I look at that now, and I developed this fear that if I went to this camp, I would be like these kids. You know what I mean? And so I didn't want to go at all. And at this time, my parents were getting a divorce. My mother was seeing this asshole who I hate to this very day. She married, and he was over. And I didn't want to go. My mother's insisting that I go. And I was literally terrified that if I went to this thing, I would end up like these kids. I really believed that. It was horrible. So anyway, I had this major attack, and I'm it was an OCD thing then, but not quite like with the rituals yet. But it was definitely an OCD thing. Okay, but anyway, that was it turned out to be a big I don't know, I was yelling and screaming and crying. It was fucking ridiculous, you know what I mean? Anyway, I went to the thing, and then once confronted with the people, I still had the OCD attacks, and I'd have to say over and over again, I might not be successful, I'll be successful, I'll be successful, I'll be successful. That's kind of why I had to keep saying that. But once I got there and confronted it, I was okay. But anyway, that was the start of it really getting bad. But the first time that I had an OCD attack that I was really scared, actually scared me, was I just got back from the beach, and my friends and I were riding home on our bikes, and Football was really big where I came from, this town in Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania was really big in football back in those days, you know, with Alec Quippen. It was really like, you know. And I went to one of the best football schools in the state, you know. We were like ranked second in the state my junior year. We were like one of the best schools in the state, small school though. And so football was huge at my school. It was like the big thing. So it was really important to me, you know, to start on the football team. And I played in 8th grade. I started out a pretty good, I had a really good season. And I was like an up and comer. And anyway, we're riding our bikes back, and my friend was in front of me, and all of a sudden the thought went in my head, you're not going to start on the football team. And I was like, I'm going to start on the football team, I'm going to start on the football team, I'm going to start on the football team. And I'm saying this, I'm going to start on the football team. But then the battle kept coming at me, not going to start. I'm going to start on the football team, I'm going to start on the football team. And he just kept, and I couldn't catch up. I couldn't say it enough times to catch up to the negative one. And then it scared the shit out of me.
So it's like your negative thoughts are fighting against you.
Yeah, and it kept, every time I said I'm going to start, the other one would slide.
Oh my God, this
in.
polish is so.
And then
What is
I
wrong?
couldn't catch up to it. Other times it would happen, but I could catch up to it pretty quick.
It must be too
This time I
old.
didn't. And then finally when I caught
Maybe I
up
need to shake
to
it up.
and I was like, oh shit, I was like, dude, I was like, you better stop this. You better knock this off because this is getting out of control now. You better just stop doing this, okay? And from there, it just started getting out of control. Now, I did have a bit of a, like during the season, I had a bit of a remission, I guess. It wasn't so bad. And I had a good season too. I started and I kicked ass, man. I was like an up and coming, you know, star on the football team. You know, the head coach knew me. I was going to be one of the big guys, you know. And wrestling season came around. And OCD really messes up wrestling because wrestling's like 90% of your head once you step on the mat. And if your head ain't together, you know, you're going to have some problems. All right, so anyway, the OCD attacks started getting worse and worse, okay? And now, some really scary shit started coming in that didn't happen before. Thoughts of, like, doing harm to other people started entering the picture, like, you know, killing your family or something, things that would really terrify me. And I had to counter those with, like, say a thought went in my head, you know.
I gotta go get some alcohol pads.
I'd have to say, I'll save my sister's life, I'll save my sister's life, I'll save my sister's life. Okay. And those started becoming more and more, and they were starting to really like get bad. Like I was starting to really, and I never, it's crazy because you know you're not going to kill your sister, you know, but for some reason it's like the fear is so strong. It's like you have to say that. Because I'm not taking, it's like I'm not going to take any chances. I got to keep saying this shit until I get it caught up.
Is it because you love your sister so much that?
No, it could be anybody actually. That's part of it. But it could be my sister, my brother, and it could be a guy on the street. Anybody could come in, you know. It really didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, maybe a little, but not really. It could just be anybody. You would
My
have
hand
to,
sticky, the polish bottle sticky. I'm
all right, so you have those
sticky
thoughts,
shit.
okay? And you would have to counter them by saying the positive thought. If you didn't, then you would go and like kill this person or something. Now you know that that's ridiculous. You know, and you're constantly in a battle with yourself, saying this is stupid. It's ridiculous. You know that. You know it makes no sense. You know that. Why am I saying this? Okay. And then you're like, and then you think, am I crazy? And then you think you're crazy. That's even worse because, oh my God, what if I'm crazy? You know, and you know it makes no sense. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Saying this is not going to change a thing. Okay. But the fear is so strong. You have to keep saying it. Now, I've been told from books I've read that basically when you have OCD, basically, like, say you go to pick something up, okay? Your serotonin moves this way, you pick it up. After you pick it up, you continue to tap the serotonin moves back that way.
Over it
Task
again,
with OCD, serotonin doesn't move back, it stays there. So you're compelled to do it over and over.
Every time I get to this one, it's really blue. But my other ones,
horrific thoughts that are coming in there.
My other one, it did not get this blue.
I don't know where those come from. But anyway, I started really bad attacks. And one of the worst attacks I ever had was, okay, this was in 1977. I don't know if you're familiar with this. There's the blizzard of 77.
About to say this was during COVID, because that's what everybody say during COVID.
You know, it was like for like, I don't know, like a week and a half or something, like snowed constantly. You know, they had to bring the National Guard into Buffalo. We were in Erie. Erie's like between Buffalo and Cleveland, and then I think Pittsburgh south of there. But we got hit with the snow too. We were out of school for like a month. You know, massive snowstorms. And this was one morning.
Natural, delicate, refined, intimissimi.
Whenever heartburn strikes, get fast relief with Tums, so you can enjoy the food you love.
finger.
Adventure is calling, and so are the deals at Pep Boys. Save up to $420 with buy 3, get the 4th tire free plus free install on Cougar Adventurer all-season tires. And give your car the seasonal TLC it needs, with up to $100 off service instantly with coupon. The open road awaits. Make an appointment online today and trust Pep Boys to keep you moving.
Okay, I got up out of bed. Somehow I made it. Now it was getting to the point where it was hard to get out of bed. So I'm doing that thing where I got to have the right thought again. And I was standing by, went and looked out the window, you know, at the snow, and it's everywhere. And the thought goes in my head, I'm going to go downstairs and murder my family, okay? And it scares me, so right away, you know, I'm going to save my family's life. And then it comes back, I'm going to save my family's life, I'm going to save my family's life. And I kept saying, trying to get, but this bad thought just kept coming in and coming in. And the more that it comes at you, the more stressful it is. And the more stressful it is, the more the OCD kicks in even more. Before long, I'm terrified, man. I'm like, next thing I know, I'm stuck by that window. I wrote a book about this, and that's one of the chapters is stuck by the window on a snow day. And before long, I'm like terrified. I'm gonna murder everybody. I'm gonna go down. I think actually my sister and I are the only ones there, but I think I'm gonna go down and murder her or what. And I'm saying it over. I'm gonna save my family. But it just kept coming, and I couldn't catch up.
Why the other nail gets really blue, but this one don't get really blue?
Crying, tears are pouring down me because I was terrified. And my sister comes down the hall and sees me, and she's like, and she knew I was having things were fucked up then. And people were noticing now, and she was just like, it's like, Steve, you got to get some help, man. Just walk away. You got to do something. She didn't know what to do. Anyway, I finally got it under control, and it was weird. Like when you had a bad attack like that, it was like if somebody in your family died or something. Somebody you close to you died. That's how you felt after it was that strong after you finally got it under control. But anyway, I went downstairs, and I'm still pretty fucked up. And she's like, Steve, just go downstairs, just lift weights, do something, keep your mind up. And nobody knew what was wrong with it. That was another thing that was fucked up. Because back then, nobody knew what OCD was. Like somebody gets OCD now, they know. Nobody knew what OCD was then. It wasn't until like the 80s that they fucking figured. And you thought you're the only person in the whole world that did this shit. Nobody else, you did it. It was all you. And so you're like fucking on your own, man. There was no help whatsoever. So anyway, the attacks kept getting worse and worse. I had an attack once during a wrestling match when I was sitting before I wrestled, I was like doing something like with my hand, and people saw like really embarrassing, which was bad. But at the time I was so fucked up, I really didn't think about it. But anyway,
okay, I'm gonna use this one for the.
After a while, my parents kind of were like, okay, they weren't doing it because they're busy fighting over their fucking divorce and what these fucking crazy people they're with. You know, they were just like. And the thing was, you know, the only thing that keeps me sane, I think, today is when I was a little kid, I had a great childhood. I mean, I had everything, man. Good, loving parents, the pool, the house, it was like the American dream. And that's the only thing that keeps me sane today. All right, now, like I said, it was getting really bad at this point, and my cousin John was overstaying. He was going to school in Gannon then. He's a really cool guy, and the whole house is falling apart now. Everything's a wreck. It's my sister and me with a bitch in our house. And anyway, there's a show on television called Violence in America. Now, when I was younger, I loved that show. I used to love 60 Minutes. I was like really into like education when I was a kid. I was like a brilliant debater. Even as a little kid, I used to like do these debates in school and bury people. And the show Violence in America comes on. It's showing me like these serial killers, and they're talking about horrific things they're doing. And obviously with OCD, now I'm freaked out. Okay, it's really bothering me. My dad noticed it was bothering me while I was watching it. And he was saying, maybe you should just go upstairs. But then I had to keep watching it because the next part was going to be about like little league kids playing little league football in the inner city and the violence there. But like for some weird reason, that was okay. Okay, so I had to watch that to offset like, Charles Manson and these sick fucks. You know what I mean? It's like violence in football was okay. You could do that. It's just that's how OCD is. It makes no goddamn sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Okay, anyway, so I'm watching the show, and it's like really getting to me. I'm having OCD attacks. Well, anyway, I finally go up to bed, and I'm laying in bed, and of course you're gonna be a killer, you're gonna be a murderer, you're gonna be just like those guys. And I kept saying to myself, sleep the left. I had to keep saying it over and over again, and then like images started showing, like I literally saw like Charles Manson right in front of me, looking at me. Like looking, and I'm like fucking terrified. Then I'm back to thinking like sports characters, you know, Jack Lambert or, you know, Joe Green or whatever, to offset the image of this guy over and over while I'm saying this. And my cousin John finally came up and like he yelled at me like, be quiet, because he was trying to sleep. And then I had to say it to myself real quiet over and over and over again. And I didn't sleep all night. It's a rich fucking night. Fucked up, terrified I'm going to be a mass murderer or whatever. So I go to school the next day. I had an algebra test. At that time, I think I had a B in algebra. The math was usually pretty easy for me. And I could ace this test. This was a turning point in my life. This was the point where it all fell apart. I mean, I'm taking the test, and I'm so fucked up with the OCD and the rituals and everything, I couldn't even take the test. I got an F. I failed it. And after that, all my grades, all Fs. Failed like everything. Because after that OCD took over. Now, one of the worst things is that it really affected me by was, okay, first of all, you couldn't pay attention in class. Because while I'm sitting in class and the teacher's giving a lecture, I'm saying over and over again in my head, you know, I'm into this, it could be for anything. There's literally, it could be a fear of BA, fear of being unsuccessful, fear of, you know, not starting on the football team, fear of, it could be any number of things. You have to say it over and over and over again. So I'm not able to pay attention to what's going on in class anyway. Reading, I couldn't fucking read for shit. To this day, I can't read. Now let me explain this to you. When I say that I can't read, okay, a paraplegic knows how to walk, but he can't walk. It's the same thing. Okay, when I would go to read a book, okay, say I'm reading the book, you know, the man walked through the store and saw a dead dog. Like when I saw the word dead, obviously, I would have to say live, over and over again to catch it up, or else somebody would die close to me. Okay, not only that, I would have to go back in that book and find the word live, offset where I saw dead. And if I didn't find it, I'd have to go to another book, okay, and find the word live, okay? Now, obviously, so I couldn't fucking read. Not only that, okay, and that can happen all through when you're reading. Any word could trigger an attack, okay? And what happened was, because of that,
okay, now I'm gonna go in with the powder gel.
Like most people, you just pick something up and you read it. You don't think twice about it. You just look. I can't do that. When I go to read something, my brain
this
automatically
is natural pink.
Stops.
I don't know what my clear
okay.
is, so
You
we're
got
not
the right
using
thought
clear.
before you start reading. Got to see the right color.
This is the consistency.
Everything has to be just right before you
it's
can
like
start reading.
Gel.
So automatically my brain stops. Okay, for me from reading. So even to this day, I can't read. But let me put it this way: I can read in the sense that sometimes I've read many books, and you may say that doesn't make any sense. Okay, I can let me give you an example here. You could have me write down a paragraph and then ask me to read that same paragraph that I just wrote. I wouldn't be able to read it. You'd be like, what do you mean you can't read it? You wrote the thing. How can you not read it when you just wrote it? And I wouldn't, because my brain puts a stop. Now, in saying that, I've read hundreds of history books and things. And then when I say that I've read those, if I pick up a book on my casual, on my own, I can read it. I'll be able to read the book. Now I will get stuck from time to time while I'm reading, stop, have some OCD attack, then continue. So I can't read in that sense. But when I say I can't read, like if somebody just hands me something, you hand me something right now and say, oh, could you read this? It's like, it stops me. That's kind of what I'm saying. And you would think, and I read, Christ, I don't know, hundreds of books trying to beat this. And you would think that the more you read, that would change. It's opposite of that. Because if I haven't read anything in a long time, it's easier to pick something up and start reading. When you read a lot, then it just increases. It's OCD and it's crazy fucking bullshit. Anyway, now by this point, my parents are like, okay, something's fucked up with this guy. We need some help. Now my mother, okay. I show up at her house one day for dinner, and then all of a sudden, now I'm terrified of going to a psychiatrist, because the next is going to confirm that I'm crazy. I'd seen the movie One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, and I'm thinking if people find out what I'm really doing, I'm going to get a fucking lobotomy or something. So you don't want anybody to know the truth, that you're fucking nuts. And I'm telling myself I'm not crazy. That was one of the attacks too. I'm not crazy. I probably said that too. I don't know. I'm sure I did. But anyway, so she says, oh, we're going. I'm like, going what? Where? And she was like, going to take me to some psychologist. I was like, again, I'm freaking out, I'm crying. I'm like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I tried. If I would have gotten in touch with my dad, he would have said, fuck that, man. I'll go run, get away. I'll come pick you up. Because my dad was like, if we were tight, he would have fucking came, you know, fuck them. Anyway, my sister was coming to ease the things. He really needed to go, but she had some issues too, but I'm not going to get into that. Hers were caused by
leave your sister out of this.
So go to the shrink, and my sister, when I talk about her, she says she remembers me telling her about it, but I don't remember telling this guy anything about it, really.
Oh,
so anyway,
like
that just didn't work at all. I never went back. Then
actually,
I'm still fucked up. So my dad then, now it's his turn to send me to a psychiatrist, okay? So, but my dad, he's upfront about it. You know, he's not playing games. He's like, no, you're going at this time. We're getting no bullshit, no surprises.
Hey y'all, what y'all doing?
Nothing. And that's the way it is. I don't want to go too fucking bad. You don't
I'm so
want to go.
excited about this
going, you know, and which is
because I haven't done a
okay,
full
of course I
eyeball
was pissed
set.
off and mad about it, but I'm not. It wasn't like a thing that was just thrown at me. Now I will say this for my mother. It was in her. She did have it in her heart to help me. Okay, so I can't. You know what I mean? She went about it the wrong way, but it was in her heart. She wanted to help me. But anyway,
Again,
so now
this is the
really fucked up.
consistency.
All right, now remember, nobody knew shit about OCD back
Put a
then.
little
It wasn't
bit
like
of
today.
that.
So I go into this like now here we go. My whole life has been fucking destroyed.
And this
Here I
is
was,
alcohol.
oh yeah, I was really good looking too. You may not believe it now. When I was younger, that's one thing I did. I was like fucking. I was really handsome, and I was extremely popular. Okay, and anyway, so I had everything in the world going for me, man. I was like, I could have been a senator today. You know what I mean? It's like. And then this fucking stupid bullshit where I gotta say things over and over again is destroying my whole fucking life. Everything's being destroyed. It's affecting me in sports, it's affecting me in my education, it's affecting me in my social life, it's fucking me up in every aspect of my life, okay? And I go, and because I gotta keep, because every time I think of something, a bad thought, I gotta say a good thought to counter it. This is what's fucking just destroying my life. So I talked to this, what does this fucking shrink say to me? He says to me, you know, see, everybody thought it was like I'm upset about the divorce or some bullshit. Fucking give a fuck about the divorce. Well, maybe I did, I don't know. But anyway, the psychiatrist says to me, you know what we can do, Steve, is we can teach you how to think of a good thought when you have a bad thought. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like in tears, I'm like, that's the fucking problem. And you're telling me to fucking, what the fuck, I'm here. I'm here because of this. And this is what the guy, I'm like, at that point, I knew, you know, it's over. I was like, okay, you know what, man? You're on your own, dude. Nobody's going to help you. Nobody can help you. Nobody's ever going to get this. You're just fucked. There's nothing you can do. So I decided, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to beat this thing one way or the other. And I always said that all through this thing. I always was determined. One day I'm going to overcome this bullshit. I stayed at it. I said, I'm going to beat this thing on my own, my way. But in that meantime, I'm going to hide this. Nobody is going to know about this. I'm going to cover it up.
Okay.
And I did. And I did it in genius. Now, one of the ways I did that was, like, say I had to pick something up like this. Now, if I physically picked it up over and over again, people could see that. So this ingenious plan was to touch it. Now, I could slowly, slightly, like, leave my arm like this and slowly put pressure on it, and that would count as picking it up, as a touch. And I could do that, and people wouldn't notice. Okay, maybe they noticed a little, but not like picking it up over and over again. Those were little ingenious ways I came up with hiding it. Another thing, I had to explain why is he getting all F's? Why is he failing his classes? They're going to question that. What do I do? How do I counter that? What do? I decide that I'm going to be one of those guys that doesn't give a fuck about school. You know, I don't care. I just want to party, drink, go to parties, you know, play sports. I don't care about school. I don't care at all about grades. And so I played that image. I played that part, and I played that part perfect, and people bought into it. They believed it. Okay, and it worked. I was fucking popular as hell. I was just like the party guy. You know, that was completely not me. I wasn't like that at all. I loved school. I loved the bitch. I loved education. I wanted nothing more than to be educated. But I'd rather do that than let people know that I was fucking crazy. Okay? And anyway, so I did it, and it worked. I remember one time, like, it worked, because I remember my dad, he thought I was okay, that all this shit had gone away. And one day, I just said, fuck it, and I had an attack, and I didn't try to hide it. He says, why are you doing this again? You were better. You were doing all right. And I just looked at him, and I was just like, you just don't know. You have no idea. You don't know. Because he didn't know. He didn't know I was hiding it. So anyway, I go through high school, and again, but somehow by some miracle, I did graduate. But anyway, I'm going to get back into one of the darkest, and I really was like questioning whether I should talk about this, because it's very disturbing, and it's very difficult for me to talk about it. But I figure if I'm going to be honest in this video, I'm going to bring it up. You know what I mean? It is. This is very difficult. I had to really think, are you really going to bring this up? But I'm going to bring it up because I have to bring it up because it's very important. Okay. All right. So meanwhile, my stepmother moves in with us, right? She wasn't my stepmother at the time. They weren't married yet. And meanwhile, her sister moves in too. And her sister's like fucking with my sister all the time, which is bad. That's a whole other thing my poor sister went through. Now, my stepmother, this is one sick fucking bitch. She would, all right, let me start with this. Ooh. I think the first Christmas she was around, okay, like she bought me this 48-inch blacklight, which was really a nice gift. I was like, wow, that's cool. And it was like weird because it was, I remember we were in the living room too. We used to always open presents in the family room when we were a family, but now it was some weird thing. I don't know. But anyway, we're in the living room, and after she gave it to me, I can't remember who said it. They were saying, oh, give her a kiss, give her a kiss. I'm like, it's fucking weird. We never did that fucking shit. It was weird. And so I'm on my knees and I go to kiss her, like, and she kisses me on the lips. And it didn't feel right. It wasn't like when your grandmother gives you a kiss. There was something different about this. something kind of weird that I really didn't know what it was, but this wasn't the fucking regular kiss. Something felt weird about this, okay? It just wasn't normal. Well, anyway, as time went by, I'm 14, my sister's 15. She starts telling us explicitly sexual things she's doing with my father. I mean, she's telling these kids this stuff. Graphic details. She's talking about putting like Hershey's chocolate syrup on my dad's cock and licking it off. She's telling 14 and 15-year-old kids this shit. Meanwhile, they're banging all the time. We hear them. At first, we're like, kids were listening. Then after a while, it was like, we're like, we couldn't even sleep. We're like, shut up. She'd leave the door open so you could peek in and see her getting banged. This bitch was fucked up, man. Okay, so she's doing all that shit. And meanwhile, she's always touching me. She's always like putting her own hands on me and touching my arms and my legs.
Poor baby.
Always. It's just like, this is like, something's fucked up. It's a sexual thing happening here, man. That's what she's doing. And I don't get it. I don't see what she's doing. I don't see how she's pulling me into this shit, right? Because I'm a fucking young kid, man. I'm in the middle of fucking puberty. I'm 14.
Ooh, I like that.
Relieve skin in 60 seconds with Aveeno Skin Relief with soothing triple oat complex and 72-hour
Different and
hydration.
exotic.
Week of Perks is back at Potbelly. Join us for great deals on our toasty sandwiches, sweet treats, and more.
When you've got a big financial friend who can give you an instant boost, your goals become easier to reach. Always by your side, your BFF is ready with so many ways to help you save. And by offering suggestions, your big financial friend can help you get where you want to go. Well, that's Experian, your big financial friend. Experian.
So meanwhile, I'm just gonna save it and do the mix. I got it. Okay. So, and anyway, if she picked me up from football practice, she would say, "Oh, lay your head down on my lap," and she'd like have shorts on. My head would be on her lap, And then right before we got to that, she, "Oh no, get up now, because she didn't want anybody to see, because she knew what the fuck she was doing was fucking wrong." Okay, and it just kept going further and further. She'd bend over so I could like see her breasts, she would expose herself. And it was like little by little, it was going more and more, and it was a sexual thing. I mean, I'm a fucking kid in puberty, my dick's getting hard by this, and at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want nothing to do with my father's fucking wife, for Christ's sake. I don't want anything to do with this fucking shit. Okay, but first, I could not stop it. I did not see what the fuck she was doing to me. And then one day, and it's getting out of control now. And then there's one day, my little brothers were over, because my dad had them on the weekends or something, or it was maybe during the week, a couple weeks in the summer, and my dad was downstairs making spaghetti, my brothers, you could hear him, and I walked past their room, and she was laying on the bed, and for some reason I walked in the room, I laid down in the bed next to her. Next thing I know, we're like kissing passionately, I'm like sucking on her tits, and it's like, and I'm saying to myself, oh, this is happening, no, this is wrong, man, this is wrong, this is going too far, man, you gotta stop it. So I stop it, okay, and I was sitting on the edge of the bed, and I'm like fucked up, man. And she comes over and she looks me in the eyes, and I was fucking terrified, man. I was fucking terrified. I was like, fuck, I was literally frozen. I was like paralyzed. I knew she was gonna do something fucked up that I did not want her to do, and I could not stop it. I was fucking paralyzed. I was just like terrified. And all of a sudden she pulled down my shorts and started sucking my dick. Next thing I knew, I saw fucking stars, had orgasms, and there was no pleasure in it whatsoever, nothing. It was nothing. It was just a horrible fucking experience. And I just sat there frozen in fucking fear. Immediately after it's over, immediately after I came, the OCD came pounding in at me, of course. And she gets up, and I hear her walk in the bathroom, spit out my fucking cum and rinse out her mouth. And I'm And I'm still sitting there frozen, like I'm fucking frozen, man. I'm in fear. I'm terrified. I'm like, I can't move. I'm still paralyzed. She said something to me like, please, my man. And then you better get dressed, you know. So I pick up, pull up my shorts, and I go in the bathroom immediately, man. I'm washing my dick over and over and over and over and over. Because now I'm contaminated. My whole body's contaminated. That was another thing I had to get into. It's a contamination thing with OCD. I'd be washing my hands constantly until they bled. No, that's a whole thing. So now I'm completely contaminated, right? And I got to get this contamination off me that she's not put on me. Okay, I'm completely contaminated. I'm feeling so guilty. How could I have done this to my father? Oh my God, this man loves me. The only person in my life. How could I have done this to him? Oh my God, what kind of a horrible person I am? How could I? I was so guilty. I went downstairs then. I heard they called me down for dinner. I couldn't even look my father in the eyes. From that day on, things with my father had never been the same after that. Never again was it the same. And I couldn't. I was.
Did he ever find out?
Well, this comes later. And so I couldn't even look. It was terrible. So then we were all going to the pool. Like our pool was, everybody had a key to the pool club. Actually, one. So we all went to the pool, and I couldn't go in the pool because if I jumped in the pool, because I was contaminated, then the pool would become contaminated as well. So all my clothing were now contaminated.
It's crazy.
Okay, and the big problem was I had my wrestling socks on, and if you start on the team, you get varsity. So it's like a big deal now, but if you were a starter, you keep your socks. So it was like if you had 4 sets of socks, you're a 4-year starter. It was a big deal, you know? And so I didn't want to get rid of those. So I got rid of everything else. I also had a problem. My underwear I had on was like the standard white briefs. I didn't throw those out because I didn't throw everything out right away. Eventually I did. But then I didn't know which pair of underwear I'd been wearing at that time. So now all my underwear became contaminated. Now when you're contaminated clothing, that means there's certain things you can and can't do while you're wearing that clothes. I was fucked. I was fucked in every way. Okay, so anyway, we're at the pool and I go in, there's a shower at the pool. So I go in the shower and I'm in the shower. I'm like, okay, just take a shower, get all the contaminant. I'm just washing and washing and washing and washing. We couldn't get out. And my stepmother comes running around eventually. It's like, get out of there. Somebody's going to find out what we did. And so I had to get out of there. And then, of course, I jumped in the pool. Now the pool was contaminated. I can never go in the pool again. Fuck that. That's over for me now. But anyway, so now at this point in my life, the major OCD attacks are coming from my stepmother.
I shouldn't be laughing because that's very sad to be honest.
And it's fucking weird because, do you want me to continue on my makeup? Okay. I'm going to try to talk while I'm doing my makeup on this. Okay. And the thing that's like fucking weird about it is, I was horrified by it. It was terrible by the OCD attacks. But yet at the same time,
literally, he's dressed up like a clown. He got clown makeup. He's doing his makeup actively.
Fucking a 14-year-old kid, you know what I mean? You can't.
This is Soft White Underbelly. What I'm watching
do that shit
on YouTube.
Kids. You don't fuck with their heads like that. You know. So anyway, for a minute there, I actually kind of went and pursued her, and she did push it away for a minute. I think she realized.
Okay, now it's time for the art.
Then at that point. Then after that, I didn't want anyone here. I didn't want to touch me because for one thing was the OCD. That was like the main thing. I didn't want, And anytime she like bumped up against me or I would have to wash it. Like my arm actually rubbed against her. I would have to like wash it off, wash it all constantly. And then there was all the nightmares, like tons of nightmares. I'm fucking her, my father. It just completely fucked my head up sexually. Just fucked me up so bad. Now, and then I got another problem here. I'm thinking, okay, and this actually came later in life. Where I would say to myself, okay, then this was like later after I was out of high school, and where the shit still bothered me, and I would say to myself, okay, now, if I hadn't had OCD, okay, and because of the OCD attacks, I didn't start banging her. If I didn't have OCD, would I just kept fucking her? And what does that say about me then? See, it puts me in a fucking fucked up situation either way. I couldn't fucking win, man. This fucking cunt, man. That's like that bitch's throat, man.
Oh.
Anyway. All the OCD attacks became triggered. Now I had another problem. First time I had an orgasm, right? It's from fucking her. So the only way I have to get rid of that now. Okay? That means I gotta have another girl suck my fucking dick, and I have to come from that to offset what my stepmother did. Or I'm fucked, man. I have to have the. So I started seeing this girl in school who had a reputation for like, banging around or just she was one of those girls who were easy, right? And I was very popular, like I said. I was like Steve Trio. I was a big man. Fucking, I was gorgeous. Every fucking girl, could have any fucking girl I wanted. I was the kind of guy where
you were not.
I know this is very arrogant, but it's true. I was the kind of guy where women would just walk up to you and give you their fucking number. You know what I mean? I was that fucking one of those guys. You know what I mean? And then my hair.
Color the eyeball first.
But anyway, so I go out with this girl, right? And I mean, she invited me to come to her house for a party. She was like a nerdy girl, like she was in the band and shit. And she was like, you know, she was really kind of a nobody. You know what I mean? But she was like kind of cute.
Wow.
She wasn't like ugly or anything. So anyway, I go to her house for a party. My friend of mine showed up at the party, which I'm surprised. Well, he was dating some girl in the band, so his name, I shouldn't have said his name, huh? We can get names in there. Yeah, but anyway, he was a cool guy with the wrestling team. We were pretty good friends. And he's like, yeah, man, why don't you take her back to my car? I got my car back there. So I took her back to the car. I'm thinking, all right, fine. I can get you to suck my dick.
If y'all have any questions,
really
feel free to ask.
That bitch offset that. She said sucking my dick. Nothing. It's like I felt nothing. It was like there was no feeling at all. Because that bitch fucked up my head, man. To this day, I can't come from getting head from a woman. It never happened. I can't do it. Because of what she fucking did to me. It can't. And now I'm like, fuck. Now I'm like, now what the fuck am I gonna do? I'm fucked. I can't even fucking come from some other girl. And she's fucking giving me head. And I'm stuck with it. So now I had to have this happen, or else I'm gonna be trapped forever because my stepmother fucking did this to me. And don't forget, I'm the one that was responsible. I did. She did no wrong. It was me. It was all me. I always said it was all me. That's what these fucking pieces of shit do. They do this to fucking, you know. And the fucking thing is, you know, I don't want to even go there. But anyway, so now what do I do? So now I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna have to bang this girl, man. If I actually have sex with her. Okay, and come from that. That's even stronger than just getting me head. So that'll offset it. I get that. All right, so anyway, and the thing was, to have sex with her, again, don't forget, I got OCD. Before I can, since this is the very first time, like anytime you're doing something for the first time, everything had to be right. You had to have the right time. You can never have like 13 after or something like that, or 47, which is 13. Everything had to be exactly right before you did something the first time. So if it was going to be the first time I had sex, I had to have the right clothes on, I had to have the right thoughts, or you had to have the exact right positive thought the minute you came. Everything had to be perfect, okay? So it's like almost an impossible situation. So the first time we had sex, I don't even think I even came because I was having OCD attacks the whole time. And then eventually I did. I don't even remember. I can't even remember like the actual. My first actual like sexual encounter now it has to be just fucking my stepmother, which I can't even enjoy, which it's fucking like sickens me. When I can still smell that fucking bitch. I can still like the scent of her. I can still smell it in my head. It disgusts me. And that's when I fucking punch her in her fucking face. Oof. Anyways, I know I'm getting a little, you know, people that know me as a clown, I'm like, oh fuck, I ain't gonna hire this fucking guy, you know. but I just think it's important that I talk about this because this was a major OCD thing that I went through. Okay, so once this bitch fucking realized...
This is not how you behave as a clown.
No, obviously not. No. I'm not at all.
You're a successful clown.
I'm a very successful clown. I'm amazing with kids and never. No. This is me for the first time coming out and telling the truth about, you know, how I ended up a clown, essentially, because I had no other option. Well, that would go that. I'll get back to all that. Anyway, so now what happens is... Now, my father, like I said, was a good guy, but he could be physically abusive. And he had been abusive to me before when I was younger. It was like this time when we went camping or something. He just, like, my brother, he told us to be quiet. My brother said he freaked out. He pulls me out of the fucking bunk and started beating the hell out of me with a fucking belt. And I got welts all over me and shit, you know, and, which was fucked up. He would be, and he never touched any of my other friends. Only me. I was the only one. But anyway, so now this bitch, okay, she was like literally, like my sister and I have talked about this. And because when you get older, you look back, you can see what happened. As a kid, you don't know what, you don't see this shit, you know what I mean? The bitch was like jealous that I was banging this other girl in fucking high school. And she couldn't have me. So she would start fights with my father. And my father, for all the good that he was, there was the other side of him was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay? It was like, he could be so good, so supportive in sports, and you know, pay for like your leather jacket and a good school clothes. And then on the other side, he could be a fucking maniac. And that bitch was the one that fucking, for some reason, man, she had him so fucked up in his head that she could do no fucking wrong. And she would start fights with us. One of the first fights was, I think this was when we were still living in the colony. That was the name of our subdivision where we lived. And they were bringing in groceries, right? And I go to open the door to help her, and she said something to me like, get your fat ass out there and pick up a thing. And I think as a teenager, I said something. I don't know what I said, like, screw you or something. I don't know. So anyway, then I went back in the kitchen. I think I went back out to help with the bag. My father comes running up on the porch, and I'm more embarrassed about people in the neighborhood seeing this. He just starts throwing punches and hitting me over and over again. And I'm not going to fight back, because this is my father. I don't want to hit my father. I loved my father. He was like all I fucking had. Okay? So I'm not going to fight back. And then another time he did it, Another time he had flown off and started hitting me. And this was
Ooh, I
weird
like
because he
that.
had done it in the
Okay,
past.
okay,
And this
okay.
time he acted like it was the first. He's like, I'm so sorry, I'll never hit you again. But that was shit. That didn't last long. A couple months later, he's doing it again. Okay, and then the one time it was really bad. I had me at a dentist appointment in the morning, and I got up, and I was leaving the door. My stepmother was leaving at the same time, and she mumbled something. I don't know what it was. And I said something like, I don't even want to go to the dentist. Just a freaking big deal. So of course, she turns around, runs upstairs. God knows what she told my father. He runs down again, freaking out, throwing punches, hitting me. And this time he hurt me pretty bad. Because when he finished, I'm surprised I didn't break my nose. I was covered in blood. He gave me blood. I mean, I was literally I was covered in fucking blood. Okay. And I was just devastated. Here now, my father's abusing. My stepmother fucking rapes me. My head's a fucking wreck. I don't know how I fucking got through it. I don't know how I fucking got through it. Anyway, if I don't remember to ask me about suicide, okay? After I'm done with this, because there's something I got to talk about that. Anyway, so I'm covered in fucking blood, and I should have just went to. I couldn't go to school like that because I didn't want my dad to get in trouble. But I wish that I did now. I wish I did. They would have saw that and then found out what was happening, the whole sexual abuse and everything. But anyway, at that point, I said to myself, I looked down at myself and I was like, that's it. No more. He's not fucking hitting me again. Next time I'm fighting back. And it happened again. We were in the fucking living room once. And I don't know what happened. She started something or something pissed him off. He comes at me. No, not this time, motherfucker. I fucking slid in, did a double leg takedown, picked him up over my fucking shoulders. Like, I was a fucking badass wrestler, man. I could fuck him up. Picked him up over my shoulders. I was like, I could have slammed him and just fucking beat the fuck out of him, slapped a guillotine on him, and I could have fucking been sipping out of a straw the rest of his fucking life. And I fucking picked him up, and I didn't slam him. I let him down easy. And I looked at him, and the first thing he said was, pack your bags. I looked like, I let you down easy. You're not hitting me ever again. I didn't have to do that. You're not hitting me ever again. You never touched me again. You never touched me again after that. And if he had came at me again, the next time, I wasn't going to let him down easy. I was going to slam his ass. I was going to fuck him up. I was going to punch his wrist. I would have fucking snapped his fucking neck. I was going to fuck him up. Because enough is enough.
You were how old?
Huh?
You were how old?
Yeah.
How old were you?
Oh, how old was I? I think I was like 16 then. Yeah, probably 16.
And you stayed in the house?
Yeah, I was 16.
After that?
Yeah, well, I was living with my father.
Yeah, but it was awkward, right?
Well, yeah, it was awkward. It was all fucked up. Of course. I'm living in a fucking hell house. And then make matters worse, my sister gets pregnant at 16, disappears out of the blue. She's gone. Moves with some fucking scumbag to Texas. So it's just me, my crazy stepmother, my crazy father living in his house. And then my father, we lived in this beautiful private neighborhood and big house with pillars. He bought some shithole house he's going to remodel. He never finished it. So I was embarrassed about living there. I didn't want people to know I lived there. It was fucking horrible. It was like my whole life, everything was gone. From a little kid to having loving parents, brothers and sisters, the beach at the bottom of the hill, woods to play in, tree houses I would build, and fucking catching frogs and, sled ride, every fucking possible positive thing a child could have in their life is growing up.
Hurt in a wreck? Moment as you're back, with nothing up front.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that, Jim.
Prices and participation may vary. It allows me the ability to be able to jump in, jump out, whether or not I'm submitting a self-tape or trying to submit myself to a new breakdown before everybody else does. If you're an actor out here that's working your butt off to be able to try to break into the industry, Casting Networks is that app for you.
Adventure is calling, and so are the deals at Pep Boys. Save up to $420 with buy 3 get the 4th tire free plus free install on Cooper Adventure all-season tires. And get up to $100 off service instantly with coupon. Make an appointment online and trust Pep Boys to keep you moving.
Was gone. It just disappeared. But because I did have that good childhood, I think that's the only reason I'm fucking sane today. Okay, because when the shit fell apart, it was when I was like hitting puberty. Okay. Anyway. Okay, I was with my, now here's another thing with my stepmother. To be completely honest, I don't feel like I was molested, because at the time when she actually, it started when I was 14 and she ended up sucking my dick shortly after my 15th birthday. And the thing is, at that time in my life, I was ready to become sexually active. I mean, you know, teenage boys get laid at 15, 16 all the time. That's not like a big deal. So I don't look at it like I was sexually molested. I definitely rape, definitely. And that's a whole other thing too, because you gotta remember back then it was fucked up. Somebody, I think my girlfriend and I were looking at some book that was telling like the statutory rape laws back then. It was like if you were like, you could like bang a girl who was like 13 in New Mexico, and if she was okay with it, it was like legal. Like what the fuck, man? That generation was just fucked up, those people. Anyway, then I had a problem where, what was I gonna say? Oh, I have to ask myself, if I'm gonna be completely honest with myself, if I hadn't had OCD, you know, that's the thing that's fucked up. This woman does this to a guy that she knew was fucked up. She knew I was fucking mentally fucked up, and she still does this shit to him. What does that say about that person? So anyway, I have to ask myself now, if I hadn't had OCD, and if she wasn't my stepmother, okay, it was just some older woman, I mean, it might have been a good experience. It might have been fun. I might have been banging the shit out of her. Man, I'm banging this older chick. You know, you know what I mean? It might have been a completely different scenario. If I'm completely honest, you know, who knows? So it's just a weird fucking thing, you know. And now, oh, I know where I was going to go with it. Okay, now I'm doing all this OCD. You must say to yourself, Jesus Christ, how do you get through the fucking day when you got to do this shit all the time? Another thing I would have to do is I would have to like if I saw something on the floor, I'd have to like pick like this little thing right here. I'd have to pick this up and I have to pick up that. I would spend hours on picking up every little fucking thing on the floor. I would have to, everything you can do that. You'd be stuck on the floor, and then once in the OCD attacks would come in, so you had the bad thought when you picked up this, and the good thought when you pick up again. Anyway, but it got to the point where it was so bad where I was like, I wanted to just fucking kill myself. I just wanted to kill myself. But guess what? You can't even fucking kill yourself. Because you can't kill yourself until you've caught up on the fucking rituals. You got to say that positive thing enough times before you're even allowed to kill yourself. You couldn't even fucking kill yourself. You're fucked, man. You're just stuck in this fucking hell. There's no way around it. And I always felt like I was like when I say stuck, I felt like there's this thing covering over me and I was like trapped. I always had this feeling of being trapped.
You were seriously suicidal at one point?
No, I wasn't, because I wanted to kill myself, but I couldn't kill myself because you had to catch up on the rituals first. So no, you're not suicidal because you don't have that option. I wish I had that option. You didn't even have that fucking option. It was that fucked up, man. You didn't even have a way out, man. You're just fucked. Anyway, okay. I had a few other OCD. Oh, I had this one OCD. This guy, what a real popular kid at school, got killed in a car accident. And that really affected me with OCD. And there was a thing I developed with OCD where, like, say I was in a room and I was having an attack, and I was like stuck in a room or somewhere, and I had to keep saying something over and over again before I could leave. I developed this thing where if I couldn't possibly stay in the room, I had to go. My friends were waiting or something. I could put it on hold. I'd leave, go out, boom, and then later that night I'd have to come back and get back to the ritual. I'd have to get back to it. I put on hold. Mm-hmm. And after he died, of course, I had an OCD attack. And I can't remember what it was, but I remember that thing lasted a couple of months where I kept having to go back to my room and say there's a ritual over and over, and then come out and get back to it later. And finally, I got it under control. And here's weird, too, because anything can trigger you to have to say something again. You see the color paint, that would mean like you're gaze, that's wimpy. You have to see blue to offset that. And any number of things could trigger an OCD attack. And after I got that attack was really bad, that when I kept having coming back to it. But I learned to do that because if you kept trying to get ahead of an attack, it would upset, walk away from it, I'll get back to it later. I'll come back to it later. But anyway, I did that with this OCD attack, something, you know, that was caused by his death. And then the one day, oh, yeah, this is important. After I would say, I'm going to save his life, I'm going to save his life, save his life, save his life. Right after I finally got it right, the time was right, the thought was right, I would have to make like a sound, like a sound like that. So that I made that sound right after I said it the last time. So that means I'm done, I'm good. Because I made a sound after that. I don't have to go back to that ritual. Anything that I see or do from here on out, I'm okay. Because the last thing I did was make that sound. You see where I'm coming back? Okay, so anyway, I finally got that one under control. And I went over to visit a friend of mine, and he was doing a report in school on abortion. And his mother was a nurse, and she got him actual, like, fetuses and a thing. And I saw those, and you would think, now that would fuck me up with OCD. You know, seeing those, I would go back and start saying, I didn't, because I made that sound first, and I could move on. Which it seems to me it makes no sense. The whole fucking thing is like ridiculous. Oh, and then I had a fear that, you know, something went in my head that my girlfriend would end up getting pregnant or something, which did happen anyway later in high school. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. I would be having sex with my girlfriend, and every time I thrust it in her, if I had I would have OCD attacks, and I would have to keep count of how many each time I'm doing it, and keep track of what I'm thinking while I'm doing that. That's how bad OCD was. It was in my sex life. I would have OCD when I'm in my dreams even. I would wake up in the morning, I do, when I go to sleep, and I would have dreams and I would be doing it. I really should touch up on that a little bit too. All right, the girl that I was seeing in high school now, again, okay, she was a nobody. I mean, I don't mean to be mean, but she was. And I did not want to be with this chick. I had nothing to do with her, and I couldn't even break up with her because every time I did, I'd have to have the right thought, the right thing. I'd have to see that I'm stuck with this girl. These beautiful women I could have had. I can't be with her. I'm stuck with her. I couldn't get out of the way. And then to make matters worse, if I was able to, every time I said I was gonna break up with her, she'd say she's gonna kill herself. One time she put on this big thing, she had pills out and everything, and I'm terrified. And one of my fears is people are gonna die, and she got me terrified she's gonna kill herself every time I break up with her. And even once I went to the guidance counselor and I told him I just couldn't take it anymore. And he said, just break up with her, just end it. I'm like, well, when she kills herself, it'll be my fault. He's like, no, it won't. No, he didn't say no, it won't. He said she's not gonna kill herself. But if he would have just said to me, it won't be your fault, I would have been, but nobody actually said that. So I was stuck with this bitch all through high school. Like, it was a nightmare. And the reason she did that is because she knew without me she was a nobody. She wasn't getting into the parties. She wasn't with the in crowd. She was a nobody without me. She knew that. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, that did have an effect on my life because from that day on, from that experience on, I swore I'd never get into a relationship again, ever. Because I no way. You know what I mean? Because I missed out on all this, and since then I've always been trying to play catch up. Bang as many beautiful women as I can. That's a whole nother OCD thing that comes later that I would have to get into about. This is a whole nother aspect. Like I said, my life is it's fucking crazy, And anyway, where was? End of my 9th grade year. Somehow, some way, I pulled together enough strength, enough to not do the fucking. I was supposed to not do a ritual. That thought went in my head, and I said, no, I'm not gonna say it's like you're gonna kill somebody. I refused to say no. I'm gonna save their life. I wouldn't do it. I said, I'm not gonna do it. I gotta beat this thing. Fuck enough of this. Because like I said, don't forget, every single day I woke up, I was determined to not do this. I was gonna beat this, and by some fucking miracle, I didn't do the rituals. And I always had this kind of I don't know if you want to call it not a fog, not a cloud, something was always over. I didn't feel myself. I was never myself. And when I finally stopped doing these rituals, I finally beat this thing, my mind went right back to the way it was before. I was myself again. I felt good again. I was back. I beat it. I'm fucking clear. Unfortunately, I don't know, a month, 2 months later, I don't know what it was. I'm sitting in my room, and the closet door, I went and I shut the closet door. I sat down. And I had the urge to have to reopen it again. And I said to myself, don't do it, dude. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. But I did. I got up, opened the door, and shut it again. I was fucked again. It was back. I opened, shut it again, opened, shut it again. OCD was back again. It was fucked completely back.
It's a serotonin.
Yeah, that's what they say. Something like that. The serotonin doesn't move. Your serotonin. It's easy to say just stop doing that, but it doesn't work. I found that in life. I found that out in life. Through years of OCD, it doesn't work. Anyway, yeah, there's genetics too. They say my grandfather had it, my great grandfather or something had it.
You don't feel like anything happened to you when you were 5 years old?
No, it's nothing like that. No, the psychiatrist, when I first told him about the sexual abuse, a lot. First, I told my doctor, and I think she thought maybe that's what caused it, but no, my stepmother. Yeah, but my psychiatrist later, recently. Yeah, it was before that. No, but they thought maybe that's what caused the OCD. But no, I had OCD far before that happened. No, OCD was just I was 5 years old the first OCD attack I had, but I didn't know what it was, and it disappeared, never came back. So anyway, some miracle, I graduated from high school. Another thing that was always a problem was fucking religion. I mean. That was a nightmare. I was brought up in this, Catholic, Italian Catholic thing, baptism, catechism, fucking all that horse shit. And first communion, and And then it was weird because it was my dad, not my mom so much. And then one day we just didn't go to church. It was weird. I remember we were little kids. We were in the house. We were just like, we're kind of like, man, we're looking at the clock. It's fucking like it's 8:30. He's not down here yet. We had to be at church by 9. Like shh, don't say anything. And he didn't come down. We didn't go to church that day. We were just like, oh, what? Don't say anything. Just let it. And then we never went again. It just ended. Catechism and everything ended. But anyway, I still had that religious that fucking brainwashing in my head. So that was always a problem with OCD too. And a lot of people I've read, OCD can stem from that too, from religion. And so at night, if I had to say my prayers like Our Father, and when I said Amen, it was a nightmare. I'd have to say it over and over and over, have the exact right thought when I said it. But anyway, in graduation, like coming up to graduation, there's all these different banquets and things, and they always had a fucking prayer, like at the end of the banquet, and that would fuck me up. Because I had to keep count of how many times I'd said Amen, and I was sitting there, ready to get the diploma, the fake diploma, they give it to you, get the real one later. But and I was like, just fucking like, this Amen shit, when they said, and somehow I got through it, and I graduated by some fucking miracle. But here I am, graduated. I'm completely fucking have no education. I always kind of consider that I only have an 8th grade education because 8th grade was the last time I fucking learned anything. But that's not really true because I've learned stuff on my own since then. But so here I'm graduating. Where am I gonna go? What am I gonna fucking do? Not one fucking person made any effort to help me or give me any guidance. Nobody. Not a trade school, not a college. I wanted to go to college. I desperately want I was hoping to get a wrestling scholarship, but OCD fucked me up so bad in wrestling. And I was one of the best wrestlers in the state. Now, when I say that, I wasn't one of the best wrestlers in the state. I had the potential to be, but OCD would fuck that up where I couldn't. For example, I wrestled this one guy. He took third. This is my junior year. He was a senior. I wrestled. He pinned me before when I was young. He was really good. I went toe-to-toe with him. He beat me by 2 points. I had him on the stall in the last round, and he was a third in the state my junior year, okay? I had, years later, a friend of mine who wrestled for a big college, okay, started. This was years later. This was like after I got out of the Navy. I was like 22, and I think this guy's kind of a jerk. But anyway, I think he wanted to think he was just going to kick my ass in wrestling, because I hadn't wrestled since high school. Yeah, I wrestled. He outweighed me by 20, 30 pounds. I went toe-to-toe with this dude. I hadn't wrestled since fucking high school. I went toe-to-toe with him, man. He just was like, he was really bugging. Then he wanted to weigh in, and he saw that I weighed less. And he was like, you weigh more. He was like really bothered the shit out of him, But see, that's what I mean. I had that kind of potential. But, and that's bad enough that it fucks you up in sports. But the worst is that it's fucked me up in my education. Anyway, so, like I said, I mean.
You enjoy being a clown?
Excuse me. Yeah, actually I do. I mean, a lot of times I look at it like, I missed out on so much in life that I, could have been and done because it's just fucked up in the head. But I make kids laugh. There's no wrong in that. You know what I mean? It's that's what I do. I make kids laugh. My critics can say what they want, but I can silence them when you just say, yeah, I'm making children laugh. I'd do parties now where I was at somebody's party when they were like 6, and now I'm doing their kids' party. And I have people all the time come up to me that are like older, like in their 20s. Man, you were at my birthday party. It was the best one I ever had when I was 6. And so there's no wrong.
Are you a clown instead of a doctor, lawyer, politician, whatever?
Yeah.
Because of your OCD?
Of course. I never would have been doing these. Of course. You kidding me? I would have graduated, but I would have got out of high school. I went to probably Penn State or Pitt. Probably would have wrestled for those schools. I was too small to play big football, though. But I would have wrestled for sure. I would have got a wrestling scholarship for sure. I would have went to college. I probably would have majored in law and probably got into politics. I was like big time into politics when I was a kid. I was big time into debating. All that went away when I fucking went with OCD. But now that I'm on these meds, now I still love the debate, man. I go toe-to-toe with anybody in the debate on any topic.
You discovered meds?
Huh?
You started taking meds when?
It was like about 7 years ago. I went through that. You know what? Maybe no, actually that's not true. When I moved out to California, I had a couple of bad attacks, and I said, enough of this shit. I said, I never wanted to take meds because I hate drugs. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs. I can't drink, smoke, or do any drugs. My brain, I cannot do that. Okay? My brain, I'll be fucked. But I went to I never bothered to get my VA benefits when I should have. But I went to some psychiatrist in Orange County, and he put me on Luvox. I think that's what it was called. And it worked, but not like the stuff I'm on now. And then I started self-medicating. I just drive to Tijuana and get the meds,
What do you take now?
Cetra something, saline. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. It's a freaking long name.
But it's helping you.
Gives with an S. Yeah, it works really good. but I was doing that. And the self-medicate doesn't work. And then I would get on and then off, and then you thing with meds, you get on meds, and then you're doing really well, so you think you don't need them anymore. So then you get off them, and then you're fucked. You know what I mean? That happens all. So now I know, dude, just and I hate.
I mean, no, you're here.
I mean, it's easy to spot me on the court, I bet.
But you've always been like that, Stevie.
Yeah.
Before you hear me, all done. Thank you. You're welcome. That's so fast. I love you.
Aveeno Skin Relief with Soothing Triple Oat Complex. Clinically proven for 72-hour hydration.
If you can buy something miles away with a tap, your renter's insurance should let you file a claim with a tap. With Lemonade Renter's Insurance, you can also customize your coverage to protect the stuff you love. And prices start as low as $5 a month. It's about time insurance does that. Get a quote at lemonade.com/renters.
Always stressing about what to eat? Meet Nourish. Nourish connects you with a personal dietitian covered by your insurance. Your dietitian can help you build a meal plan, teach you about nutrition, and even give support during tricky menu dilemmas. Nourish accepts insurance in all 50 states, and 94% of Nourish patients pay $0 out of pocket. Heal your relationship with food. Sign up with Nourish today. Find your personal dietitian at usenourish.com.
Taking meds, but yeah, what are you gonna do, man? Your brain doesn't work right,
What are the downsides of the meds?
Well, for one thing, it's almost impossible to have an orgasm. That's one downside. That's probably really the only one, really. It used to get like joint pains and things, but I think, that's pretty much gone now. I don't really get that anymore. That's probably the only really bad one. You sleep fucking great with them, you're knocked out, And I'll skip my meds every now and then. Like if I want to watch some porn and masturbate, and not have to fight for every med, I'll skip one. I can skip a med for, maybe a day, couple of days, 2-3 days, and 3 at the most. I won't chance it after that. My psychiatrist doesn't want to hear that. I don't tell him that I skip them.
Has OCD affected your romantic relationships?
Oh, of course.
I mean, so because you're taking the meds, you don't.
Well, no, not like that. A little bit, but not really. Okay, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. OCD and romance. That's good because that's where we can start with that next. That's another one.
No, I'm shooting.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to start with that. Anyway, I got out of high school, and eventually I think I did get out of that relationship with that fucking girl. I mean, the time was right. I was able to, for some miracle. And I'm seeing this other girl, right? Okay. I developed this thing where OCD would come in my head and would say, I'm about to have sex with a girl. My OCD would say, you're not going to be able to get it up. Now I can't get my dick hard. OCD is stopping me from having a fucking. Here I was stuck with this fucking girl all through high school. Now I'm able to bang all these beautiful women, and my OCD won't even let me do that. And I couldn't get my fucking dick hard. OCD would say, your dick's not going to get hard. And guess what? It ain't getting hard. It wouldn't do it. I went through a whole thing with that. And that comes and goes still. It's weird today. Like now, if I take the medication, okay, well, my dick will get hard, but now you can't come. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you don't take your meds, OCD will say your dick's not going to get hard and it won't get hard. But so you take the meds and it will, but now you can't orgasm. It's like, what the fuck, man? Not to say that I haven't had some really great sexual experiences in my life. That I can tell you about all that later because I've traveled all over the world, and let me tell you something. And you would think that would be enough. Like make a commitment to somebody, but I can't. That's a whole different thing. I don't think that's an OCD thing. I just don't get the whole marriage thing, man. Okay, this doesn't really have anything to OCD, but I'm kind of, since we're on that topic, there is the thing with where I was in those relationships in the high school trap that I wanted a variety of women, because I was always trying to play catch up. I think of all the different women I missed out on. And even after I got out, I think there was a lot of beautiful women I should have been banging with. I got caught up with women that I really didn't want to be with, but I stayed with them. They were nice girls, though. But anyway, I just figured out what I was doing. Oh, I know what I was going to say. No, I could never get married anyway. It has nothing to do with OCD. I don't get married. Okay, we seek variety in every aspect of our lives, be it music and literature and films and foods and travel and art. We're always looking for something new, something different, something more exciting. Why would you not look for variety in your sex life, too? See, I don't get that. How can you be one person your entire life? That's it. I mean, there's a plethora of variety out there. I mean, look at all the different continents. Just that, Asia, and South America, North America, India, and, Africa, Europe. And with each of one of those, if you take like Asia, you've got Vietnamese women, and Cambodian women, and Chinese, and Japanese. And now that you've got women with mohawk, short hair, no hair, cheerleader types, sophisticated types, punkers. How can you possibly, and for women too, how can you possibly be one person for the rest of your life the day you die? It'd be like eating the same thing every fucking day. It'd be like eating pizza every day of your life. Not just eating pizza, but eating the same exact pizza every day for the rest of your life. I get that. Maybe I'm missing something, because a lot of people get married, and a lot of people like it, and a lot of people find fulfillment in that. So, maybe I'm missing something. I got nothing. I mean, more power to you. I got nothing against it, But for me, I just can't imagine that. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. All right, anyway, I get out of high school, and it's another thing. I had a job in high school. I worked at this truck stop. I'm late for work fucking day because I'm an OCD, right? But I had this manager that was so fucking cool. She was mean and tough and strong, and she'd cuss you out and give you hell. She was like this big kind of like truck driver kind of looking lady, but she was fucking fair. And I'd come in like 2 hours late from work, man, every fucking weekend. Most of the times I was at a party the night before at this point, and I can't totally say it was all OCD, and I was up banging my girlfriend all night. Then you have the football game, you go to the big party, the keg party, then you go bang your girlfriend all night, and then you crawl out. You're supposed to be at work at 8, I don't get there till 10. But she never busted my balls about it, because when I got there, I worked my ass off, and she knew that. And I was really good. I was like a busboy, right? And then later I became a cook. But I was like, she knew that, and she would cuss you out. So she can choose to, but she was fair and honest. You know what I mean? I would say her and my football coach were two people that really did support my life. It's kind of like they knew I was fucked up, but they saw the potential there. Even if they didn't say it, knew it. You know what I mean? They knew this guy, there's just something wasn't working right with this guy. Anyway, while working at this truck stop, okay, it was mostly high school. For a while there when I worked, there was all high school kids there. It was like me, this guy, this other guy with this another school. There was the cook, me, and then this girl that I went to high school with. She was the server. It was like 3 of us. We're running the whole fucking, that's it, man. There wasn't even a manager around. 3 fucking high school kids were fucking running this restaurant. And let me tell you something, things got pretty fucking crazy. We're high school kids, you know what I mean? I don't know how the thing even worked with having us there. Eventually I think that's why they brought her in as the manager. She used to work there, I think they brought her in to kind of rein in the crazy, these kids. Like, wait a minute, we gotta, have the owner was a cool guy. It was just a cool place to work.
About to cure.
But anyway, at this place,
and top coat because they're not cured properly.
These people were poor. This was like the mother was a server there, her daughter was a server. I think their son was like worked at the gas station, part of the truck stop. And this one girl, and the other girls that worked there, like these really young, really pretty high school, from wealthier families. These young, real beautiful girls. From wealthy families, and this poor girl was like, poor and kind of overweight, and it just must have been hard on her. And anyway, I come into work one day, and Pat, the lady I'm talking about, the manager, and you never saw her cry. She was crying, and I never saw her cry before. She's sitting at the table crying, tears were out of her eyes.
I'm about to cure it, and then I'm gonna show y'all the finished look once I cure.
And, that young girl, her father, took
just
a knife,
putting this stuff up
fucking sliced up like a fucking Christmas ham, man. She had fucking scars, every stitch is all over her fucking body. He went after her with a fucking butcher knife or something, and just fucking cut her to pieces, man. It's like, this is that fucking generation, those fucking people, man. They did this poor fucking girl. And this girl, I can't believe how well she was handling it, you know what I mean? She was like so strong. Fucking makes me emotional when I think about it too. This woman was so strong. This young girl, man, a fucking teenager, and she was so strong how she endured that. And you know what? Nothing even happened to that fucking guy. Remember that? How could I forget this?
He got all the stories.
Here's my stepmother and that whole sexual abuse, and my father, the physical abuse. Here's the punchline. You're gonna love this. My father is the director of children's services. My stepmother's the head of the adoption agency. How you like that? Is that a fucking punchline for you? Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, I ain't shitting you. Imagine that. And there was some big scandal at Children's Services my senior year, I remember. I don't know, because I was fucked up with OCD, I couldn't follow. I can't imagine what the fuck was going on at that place. They're probably fucking raping teenagers left and right at that goddamn fucking place. Yeah, how you like that for a punchline? Anyway, this girl, And my father was a good social worker. I mean, when we were kids, I remember we used to be like kids that were like, were homeless because their parents were abused. They would stay at our house until they found a place. And he did all that. And this is when I came and I told this girl, I said, look, my dad's a head director of service. I get you some help. And my dad, I told him, he's like, no, I don't want to get involved right now. We have other, and that's when I knew that his heart wasn't in social work anymore. Yeah, and then I had to go back and tell her this, and it's just. And anyway, that guy, her father, did that to her. Nothing ever even happened to the fuck. He never even got arrested. Nothing even happened to the fucking piece of shit. That's how they used to treat teenagers back then. And you wonder why these teenagers would grow up, you know, like they're in their 30s. Then you hear them, they like those guys that kid that hid in the garage and blew his fucking parents away. Yeah, you wondered why they fucking did that. Well, that's fucking why. You know what I'm saying? That's why they fucking did it. You know, I'd love to blow my fucking stepmother. I would love to blow her fucking brains out. And they wonder why. People grow up, okay, and then they fucking, what, he killed his fucking father? Yeah, why did he kill his fucking, what did his fucking father do to him his whole fucking life? You know what I mean? But that's how they treated teenagers back then. And now, today, I think it's different, you know. It's not, you know, I think they take the teenager says, because like my generation, if a teenager says something, you know, great, dad, teenagers lie too. I know this bullshit, you know, of course. But you take it more seriously. Back then, nobody gave a fuck, man. It was like, you know, you do whatever you, especially when you're a teenage boy, you can do whatever you want to them. You know, it doesn't fucking matter. You know, it's like, you know, I had a girl once said to me, oh, you loved it. That's a fucking attitude. I'm like, fuck, bitch. You know, but you know, I shouldn't say that like that because a lot of women and not many people have told that about, they were compassionate about it, you know. So I think, I'm not going to say that even most women react that way. Most women are compassionate about it. But there is a thing, though, without a doubt, when it's a boy, a young guy, there still is a thing where, you know, boys will be boys. But when there's a teenage girl, it's different. And it shouldn't be. But it is like that. But, you know.
That's true.
It is what it is, you know.
It's sad.
As I'm talking, I'm actually having some OCD attacks, like having to remember to say so I can feel it like right here. So I was all going through this. Anyway, I get out of high school.
Where's your nose?
Sir, we know.
Yes, of course.
We know you having OCD attacks because you sound like it. We listening to you.
Clown, putting on the fucking clown nose. Yeah.
Oh, I like how I did that
the hat and the nose, you have to make sure your skin is really, really dry. But anyway, that same girl that did say that smart-ass comment, this is the OCD attack I just had. I had to remember what I was going to say. I was going to bug me. She did also say to me, you know, something about don't let her get away with it. You have to tell your story. Something of that sort, you know, you don't want her to get away with it. You know, she'll get away with it. You know, let people know. So she did, even though she said that comment. So it's not really fair for me to you know, because it's not fair. I don't want to come up that I'm like, you know, women hear a guy, something like that happened to a guy, and I'm like, you know, women are like, oh, too bad he's a teen. That's not true. The majority of women do. They feel bad for the guys too. You know. But anyway, I graduate from high school. I'm working at this place. I got nowhere to go. Oh, then I met this other girl. Okay, remember I told you the thing where OCD wouldn't let me get my card? I meet this other girl. She's like, her car, she smashed her car into something. I think she drove it up. I started seeing this girl. She was not attractive at all. She was like a druggy girl, you know. And, oh, this is something I should mention. I never did drugs or anything. Now, here's another thing, okay? Now, smoking marijuana is no big deal.
You are prescribed.
As a matter of fact, I have no problem with people doing drugs. As a matter of fact, I think all drugs should be legal. I do have a problem with people that do drugs. They can't afford to do drugs, so they break into my property and rip out all the copper so they can buy their drugs. You know, it'd be like me wanting to eat at a 5-star restaurant every night, but I can't afford it, so I rob and steal. I do have a problem with that. If you want to do drugs, do all the drugs you want if you can afford them. I could care less. Anyway, I started smoking marijuana, which I never did before. And this was a kind of a dangerous thing with OCD because sometimes I'd get high and you could get so caught up in an OCD attack while you were high, you'd be like deep in it, you couldn't come out of it. And then I told myself,
and we are done. This is the finished look.
But now, I could have, say I had an OCD attack where I smoked marijuana and I had an OCD attack the first time.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
I had to smoke it again, okay, to offset the thought I had the first time I smoked it. OCD can literally force you to have to smoke marijuana every day. Now, people would look at that and say, oh, he's addicted to marijuana. No, he ain't addicted to marijuana. He's got fucking OCD. I'm gonna let him stop doing it. Okay, now, OCD